Today we're going to chase the iconic Australian bass. We're up pretty early because we're going to try and target them on the surface. Then as the day gets on, we'll sneak out a bit deeper. And then in the brighter day, we're going to get right in low. Right now, while the light's low, fish surface and try and catch one of these Aussie bass. So the bass early in the morning are up hunting around these lily pads and weed edges and the edge of the creek. So what we're doing is just imitating one of the food sources. So say a frog or a lizard's fallen into the water. It's struggling on the surface, so there's different types of lures you can get with different actions. But essentially we just want to make it look sick and injured, wobbling on the surface and wait for one of those big bass to come up underneath and whack it for breakfast. Yep. Wow, there we go. Little Aussie bass. He thought his breakfast had just fallen out of a tree. He's come up and he's whacked it. He might have thought it was an insect or a little lizard. Beautiful little fish. Magic. Yeah, got him that time. The sun's starting to creep up a little bit. We've had a little bit of overcast conditions and been trying a bit. I reckon that's probably the last of our surface fishing. So the fish have been early morning hitting those bugs and chasing things across the surface. As that sun's come up, they're going to start going down in the water column. So we're going to start changing our presentation to get a bit lower. Hopefully we can get a few of the bigger ones. So now the sun's come up. The bass are moving down. They're coming off out of that surface feeding zone and they're going to move down a little bit deeper. And that happens in creeks and in lagoons like we're fishing here off a creek. And they'll move a bit deeper. So we need to get down a bit deeper. What I'm going to do is use a diving lure. So that's a lure there with a bib. And as I wind that, that's going to wind down to where the fish are and that level is. The trick is make that lure look really edible. So we're going to do lots of pauses, lots of little shakes. Hopefully we can entice a few out of those snags. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Here it comes. Look at him. Look at you. He's tried to get me in the weeds. I've got trees that are down. These bass are very, very territorial and they'll try and get you in. I think I've got this one beat. Keep him on the top. So I might get this one in. Take a look at him. There you go. That little hard body, thought that was a little shrimp or a little fish swimming past. Put in next to the snag, down it went, paused. It's very important that pause sometimes because they're sitting there right behind it and that lure stopping right in front of him. And like that, he's just gone, well, I better eat that. And he's whacked it. Beautiful, Australian bass, love it. So the gear I'm using today, which was the same stuff I was using on the surface, which I've just switched to the subsurface using the hard bodies. A little 3 to 4 kilo spin stick. Nice light, it's got a bit of 8-pound braid on it. I've got a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. It gives me the option, it's really easy to cast, it's nice and light, but also has a little bit more power because sometimes when they're in the trees on the edges of these creeks, you've really got to wrestle them out. You've got to get them out. And it is a very addictive thing. You're sort of getting a cast right in close to the snag. You give it a tweak, and when that bass hits it, the first thing it wants to do is dive back into that snag. So you've got to be on your wits. And I've got to tell you, that's a really fun part about chasing Australian bass. Snuck right up in this creek and it's a little bit too deep for my diving hard body. So what I'm going to do is switch over to a really lightly weighted plastic. I'm going to throw the little plastic in there, little paddle tail plastic. It's lightly weighted, a little light jig head. Hopefully a little bait fish swimming past might get clunked by a bass. And there he is! Oh yes! He's done a bit of a wrestle, coming around some reeds. Had to do a bit of jumping around, but we finally got him free, brought him in. And this one is an absolute cracking little bass for this area. Look at the size of that. Beautiful Australian bass. Fantastic colorations. Living in these still waters sometimes in the backs of these creeks. And that's fantastic. Australian bass fishing. Definitely well worth the effort, whether you're walking a bank, slipping the boat in a little creek, target them from the surface to the deeper water. Hopefully a few of those techniques that we've shown you today will get you catching a few of these guys. This guy's going back. What a great day.